Okay, I think I'm live. I think I'm live right now. Yes. Okay. Perfect. That was. At first, I was like, "Oh no!" I was like, "Where is it? Where is it?" I'm gonna keep missing the button that says "Go Live." Okay. Welcome everyone. I hope you're having an amazing day. I'm so happy to be here. We are 1 hour away from the biggest graphics revolution, in my opinion, in years. And this is truly an amazing day, an amazing event. And I'm so happy that you all are here to join me. Um, we're going to get this set up. Um, and I know last time we did a Zen 3 video, the live video, so I want to cover a bit of the changes I'm going to be doing in this stream from my previous stream. And what I'm looking at doing is I want to make commentary during the live stream in the chat. So instead of me making commentary, turning the mic down, you miss stuff. If you want to see updates, you will have to watch. You can't watch in full screen if you want to see the updates, but I will post updates in the chat instead. In my commentary and such in the chat as the stream is going, as AMD is streaming, and then afterwards I will make commentary based off that, just so you guys can have a consistent stream without having to hear me, so you can pick up all the information in that. And then, like I said, we're right now kind of in the pregame show. So I'm going to pull up some of my older videos. We're going to talk a little about some of the things I got right, some of the things I got wrong. I put a recent video out similar to that. We're going to cover a bit more of my thoughts as I've had time to collect some stuff. Let me know how the audio quality is. Let me know how the video quality is. Right now, I'm trying my best to hit 60 FPS at 2K. So that way I know this is extremely important. Because this stream, we're focusing on graphics, so it's really about, there's going to be demos on this stream, there's going to be clips and such that you're going to want to get the full experience, so I'm trying for the best possible stream, so let me know if I am doing that. So I think that's about good. Things seem to be healthy as far as the stream side, so let's get rolling into this. Let us go to my channel and okay. So I want to go back to a video I did in July. This is my very first
600.
RDNA2 video, and the audio quality on this is absolutely terrible. But I just wanted to go back, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about my thinking back there. So we're going to watch a clip here, and I'm going to kind of play. They're going to be releasing 3 cards today, and I'm going to kind of get into what those will be. Like I said, I want to kind of throw this out, set the scene, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to play this clip, and then I'm going to make some commentary.
For RDNA2 will look like. I want to go over some things we definitely know about RDNA2. It has been confirmed, at least to my knowledge, that there is an 80 compute unit max on.
Okay, so that right there, that 80 compute unit max, that's the top Dynavi 21. So we will not see a card over 80 CUs or 5,120 stream processors. One thing I do want to refer you to is I made this spreadsheet over here a while back, and I've been updating live on Google Sheets. And what you can do is you'll be able to see all the information, all of the specifications. I line everything up. And you can see here how I calculate, for example, what an AMD compute unit, so I can calculate how many compute units from shaders, how many shaders from compute units, how much, or how to calculate teraflop, how to convert NVIDIA SMs to RT cores or RT cores to SMs. RT cores is just it's like an AMD or the NVIDIA equivalent to the AMD stream processor, I believe. Hold on, I'm actually not. I'm not actually super well versed on NVIDIA cards because I have an AMD card, so I know a bit more about AMD. Let me take a look here. I'm just hopping all over the place already. It's just one of those days, I guess. Okay, let's see here. I want to go to the specifications. I actually want to look at this too. We can talk about the specifications because this is the main card in question. Yeah, so NVIDIA CUDA cores. Okay, so it's CUDA cores per. I don't know where I got the RT cores. It's somewhere in here I got RT cores. I'm going to see where these are. Because I do want to kind of explain some of the stuff. Yeah. Or no, ray tracing cores. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's somewhere else. But it's a CUDA core. Okay, so I'll change that. Somewhere I saw RT cores. But it's 128 CUDA cores. And then NVIDIA teraflopped AMD. So this is super important. I'm going to get into this here very, very shortly. We got 55 minutes still to go, so we'll be fine. But there's actually an Ampere teraflop as of now. I should say, yeah, Ampere. I just said NVIDIA, but Ampere is 2/3 of an RDNA2 teraflop. So even though the 3090, for example, is 36 teraflops, in reality, when you multiply that by 2/3, you actually get about 24 teraflops. And Big Navi here, this is Big Navi, 6900 XT. This is Navi 21. This is the XTX. I'm just going to put this in here, make it easier. And then this is the XT. And this is Navi 21 XL. So that way I can kind of group this in a way that makes a bit more sense. So Big Navi, Navi 21 XTX has 24.57 teraflops. That's why I said it could pull ahead, theoretically could pull ahead of the 3090 in this sort of competition here. It's going to be close. It's going to be very close. But anyways, back to the video. So 80 compute unit max.
On all dies. There will be ray tracing, hardware accelerated ray tracing across the whole lineup.
Okay, so a word on the ray tracing. So I can tell you for sure it's going to be better than Turing. And this is mainly, I mentioned in the video, I think it was 2 or 3 videos back, where I mentioned how Mark Cerny was citing how AMD and Sony were working together and sharing R&D and such. And so that's how AMD was able to get such good ray tracing around the first go, because they also had Microsoft and Sony doing putting money towards R&D, testing different methods and such to improve ray tracing, which would allow them to get that performance over Turing. But I highly doubt it will beat Ampere. And for what I'm actually hearing, I'm hearing that there's not exactly dedicated ray tracing cores. I don't know how accurate this is, but what I'm hearing is that it's a shared use. So if you're ray tracing, the cores will ray trace, but if you're not using ray tracing, the cores are just regular like rasterization compute units or whatnot. So that's something I find a bit interesting, but that's what I'm hearing on ray tracing. So I don't expect it to be better than Ampere or Ampere, but I do expect it to be better than Turing. So I would say probably about 50%. I would say probably about in between. So you have Turing, you have Ampere's ray tracing. AMD is like smack in the middle of that. That's where I expect them to lie there.
There is a 4K target with the RDNA2 architecture, and there will be no more 4 GB memory in any variants of an RDNA2 card.
Okay, so a bit about that. 4K target. So we can see the top. Actually, here, if I pull up, it was just leaked this morning. Oh, someone got confused. Okay. Yes. So, what in the world? Okay, I'm not. Hold on. This is interesting. One of the CS fans, the other 3 fans. I don't understand. It looks like they took the same image, just copied it and said that was okay. Slots XL versus XT 2 and 2.5. Oh. Yeah. It is different. These fan blades are different. That actually is interesting. Yeah, these look different. Yeah. Yeah, if you look here, the fan blades are a bit different. And yeah, you can definitely see that the metal backing on that card's different. Yeah, that's interesting for sure. Where was it? I was trying to find. Goodness, there's so much. It's like run over with. Leaks. Okay. No. Here, let's go here. Okay. So right here, so Today, this just came out. There's the 6800 confirmed, so we will be seeing a 60. I was calling it the 6700 XT. Apparently, it's the 6800. So they will be launching a non-XT, a 6800 series card, and they have 16 gigabytes of RAM. The reasoning for 16 gigabytes of RAM is you're going to need that much VRAM because 4K has larger file sizes for textures and such. It's more data because it's higher quality, so you're going to need the extra VRAM. So that's when the 4K target there. That is exactly corroborated with the use of the 16 gigabytes of VRAM. You don't need 16 gigabytes of VRAM on a card unless you're either A, trying to hit 4K, or B, you're doing some sort of crazy workstation type workflow. So that's kind of what we're looking at. And they just filed these today, so this is interesting. This is very interesting. You can see also there's some 3070s. Nothing we don't already know really there, but yes, we have confirmed there's a 6800 XT and there's a 6800, and they both have 16 gigabytes of RAM. Back to the video.
So 4 gigabytes you will not see coming with any cards. So I am assuming that the lowest amount of memory shipped will be 6 gigabytes of.
If there's a 6 gigabyte card, that'll be the 6500 XT or 6500. I think that the 6700 XT will have 12 gigabytes of VRAM, and I think that the 6600 XT will have 8, which is still 2 more than the 5600 and 5600 XT. And I think those cards will have about 36 compute units, but that'll be something coming in Q1 of 2021.
Of GDR6 memory. Another thing we know, but we don't really understand what this exactly means, and I've speculated a couple things, is Lisa Su often mentions Navi 2X and not RDNA2.
Okay, so the Navi 2X is very important here. We see a lot in the VRAM, for example. The VRAM is twice the VRAM of last generation. We see it in the compute units. We're going to see twice the compute units on the top card than the last generation. Performance, I think personally we might see more than twice the performance than the last generation. So Navi 2X is very indicative that AMD is going all out. They're doubling down on this RDNA architecture. And RDNA2 is going to be amazing. More like I said, this is one of the biggest graphics revolutions we're going to see because AMD is going to now put themselves in the spotlight. They're going to go head on with NVIDIA. And the next year, RDNA3, I will tell you, is far more amazing than RDNA2. But the reason I don't call it the large graphics revolution is because AMD will have already caught up to NVIDIA. And as you can see right now, NVIDIA is in quite disarray, which I might talk about a little bit later if that's something you would like to hear. But that's really the whole situation there that I want to talk about from that video regarding RDNA2. And then I actually want to bring up this video here, which is actually really funny. I just finished the video, just finished editing it, and that AMD I deemed it cooler, and I was super upset because I was like, oh my gosh, this is fresh stuff. So I put it on the thumbnail. It was kind of clickbaity and whatnot, but I had to put it in somewhere. So this is what I called Big Navi out to be, and I will tell you this is 100% accurate. This is 100% accurate at the time this video was made. 80 compute units, 5,120 stream processors, 23.5 teraflops, 16 gigabytes of GDR6 memory, 2300 megahertz boost clock, and a 1975 megahertz base clock. Spot on. AMD, if we remember, said they tweaked this card to get high performance. They weren't impressed with the 3090. They tweaked this card. This was made on September 14th. Okay, and I think the 3090 launched. It was somewhere around that time when the 3090 launched. Or no, that was the 3080 launch. So that's September 24th. So they had those numbers, so they were pretty happy. September 24th came around, um, and AMD saw the launch, and they said, "This is really, this isn't impressive. We're not impressed." And they go, "We're going to push this card a bit higher." So this boost clock here actually has been pushed up around 100 megahertz now. There's opportunities. This is 7 nanometer, so 7 nanometer can clock very, very high. And the RDNA2 architecture, as we know, scales very well in terms of clock speeds. So we know there's a card here that hits 2500 megahertz stock. That will most likely be the 6700 XT. And we know AIBs are getting around 2570 megahertz. So we could see, maybe a little bit higher, maybe about 50 megahertz higher on the Navi 21 XTX 6900 XT. But that card, they really just tweaked the clocks a little. And mind you, by tweaking the clocks, the whole card is based on a caching system. And what that essentially is cache is very low latency memory. And AMD ended up using a large pool of cache, which they have dubbed Infinity Cache. There's 128 megabytes of this cache on the GPU. It is right on the die, so the chips aren't floating around the PCB where there's more latency. It's right on that die. And they have discovered that by using the Infinity Cache, it is actually more cost effective, and it is more, it's higher performing than, say, a wider bus. So a 320-bit bus, a 384-bit bus, a 512-bit bus. And they have tested cards, from what I've heard, they've tested cards that have had those bus widths against a card with the Infinity Cache, and the Infinity Cache card has come out on top. So they ultimately win. The Infinity Cache Stein. I want to show you. I want to show you this here. Okay. So this die here is allegedly 536 millimeters squared. So let's see here, 536. So the original die was supposed to be 505 millimeters squared. So we're seeing approximately 31 millimeters square out of that die. I think part of that, they already had a large cache pull on this die, but I think part of that extra 35 millimeters or 31 millimeters squared was to go towards the Infinity Cache budget. So that's why the die is a little bit extra, because they ended up going with, I think originally they were going to go with a 505 millimeter square die, 80 CUs, and they were going to have that 320-bit bus. I don't think they would have anything over a 320-bit bus. So I think they were going to do a 320-bit bus on that die, and I think they just kind of scrapped that idea, and we're going to put a bit more of those transistors, dedicate that to cache, and because that's ultimately better performing than the 320-bit bus, and it's much more cost effective and much easier of a GPU to get out. So I think that's why they ended up going with that. And the cache is really something that is revolutionary compared to NVIDIA. So let's see here if I go into, I have an NVIDIA video where I did the NVIDIA launch. And let's see.
This is fine with this.
Okay, so just how like NVIDIA presented their I/O, and they were bragging about their advancements here and their architecture for Ampere and such. This is what RDNA2 is. This is kind of how the cache is the Infinity Cache is for RDNA2, where AMD, this is revolutionary. This is something that is very, very impressive based on the rest of the architecture and compared to NVIDIA and other competition in the market. This is something truly innovative. This is something that only AMD is doing, which is really quite groundbreaking, quite amazing, and this is going to be part of their competitive edge on NVIDIA. Okay. So I had that card, and then I also had the 6900, which is now the 6800 XT. And this card is a 72 compute unit card. And like I said, I got basically everything right here, except the clock speed's about 100 megahertz higher. So really, as I said in my last video, I had everything generally right on these cards, not naming, but on these cards. And I also had a 64 compute unit, which this card, to my knowledge, I might have called this card out, except I got the memory wrong. If I would have had that memory right, and we're going to see today, I might have gotten the 6800 nailed. I might have nailed that card, other than the clock speed, which, well, the clock speed actually is pretty close to what the actual 6800 is going to be. It's only 50 megahertz higher from what I'm seeing as of now. So yeah, I was close. I was very close. So I'll actually be interested to see. I had a 6800 XT on there too for 68 compute units, because I was so sure they were going to do a non-XT and an XT and a non-XT and an XT, but apparently that is not the case anymore. And that's really where I see things going today. We're going to see these three cards, the 6800, 6900 XT, and 6800 XT launch. This is the Navi 21 XTX XT X and the XL. So they're going to launch the whole Navi 21 die. So we're seeing everything. Now, I will say there's a professional card that's going to be coming out in Q1 with 32 gigabytes of supposedly HBM2. It's an AECU card. It's the Navi. It's essentially Navi 21 XTX with the professional drivers, a more higher speed VRAM is what it is. But now that's really what we're ultimately looking at in these cards. There's an amazing, amazing potential for these cards. Today we're gonna see everything. I mean, it's going crazy at this point. It's just gonna be absolutely amazing. Okay, I'm following all this very, very closely today. Yeah, pricing. Let's talk pricing. So I have called the pricing on the XTX at $1,000. Okay. The reason why is they have 8 gigabytes less of VRAM, which, no matter what you say, VRAM does sell cards. It's not GDR6X, it is GDR6. So even though AMD, it's really going to, in my opinion, the speeds aren't going to be too far off the way AMD's engineering things, Infinity Cache and such. But ultimately, NVIDIA is going to have that to market against them. So AMD, I don't think they're not going to come in at $1,500 with this card, unless it would have more or the same amount of VRAM as the 3090. So that's out of the question. So if it beats the 3090, or is very, very, very on par with it, I think the card will be $1,200 or $1,300. Though I will say I find that likely. I think it's going to trade blows to where AMD will win in some scenarios, and NVIDIA's 3090 will win in other scenarios. So maybe scenarios that would need more VRAM. The 3090 would definitely take the crown there, but I think maybe some of the less VRAM dependent scenarios and the rasterization scenarios, the more rasterization focused scenarios, I think AMD's card will ultimately win. And that's just what I'm seeing, but for me that's what is making the most sense at the time. It's going well, in my opinion. It's going very, very well as of now. Like I said, it's going to be close. But if it does not beat the 3090, but it comes close. If it does not beat the 3090, but it comes close, I think that it's going to be about $1,000, and I think just so AMD makes it a little more appealing, I think they're going to launch it at $999. There may be a liquid cooled or an AIO 6900 XT, which I've heard that's just, they might do it in the future. So there may be one of those that they will launch, that AMD will have come out in Q1 of 2021, and that might be like $1,100 or $1,200. But I think that $999 is the best, because the 3080. Let's see here. The 3080 is $700. So AMD has 6 gigabytes more of VRAM than that, and it's going that card's gonna outperform. It's gonna be right in between the 3090 and 3080. So that's why I said it's gonna be more. The 6900 XT, the top die Navi, is gonna be more than the 3080, but it is not. I don't think it's gonna be over the 3090. I don't even think it's be 2080 Ti pricing. To be honest, it would have to be very. It would have to beat the 3090 in my opinion for it to be that kind of price. But that's just what I'm thinking. So yeah, that's ultimately what we're looking at as of now. If there's any questions, please let me know. What I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna leave this as a summary stream. I'm gonna put another stream out. Actually, I think that. Yeah, I don't know. I might do that. I might try and do that, and see how that goes. But ultimately, that's what I'm going to try to set up here. So I'm actually going to stop streaming for just a second, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So we are going to get into this. We have the launch coming in about an hour. Or half hour. So it'll be right here. There's gonna be a YouTube video. It'll probably pop up. I'm gonna travel over to AMD's YouTube channel. Oh dear. And we are going to go check out the stream, see what's going on. Whoa, that's not AMD. Okay. Oh my lordy, look at that. 42,000 people are currently waiting there. That's pretty impressive. Okay, so I think at this point we're kind of all set up. You can see there's the big beautiful GPU. Actually, let's see here. I can't believe there's a picture on their website. That is so cool. That's actually that cooler design's growing on me. Other than the red, I wish it wasn't red. I wish it was like white, but I get why they did it that way. I'm not a big fan of that. Okay, so I think this is an older series they had where they had HD graphics because it's not RX graphics. But yeah, we gotta find with 2 cores. Oh dear. I'm trying to see if I can find anything. Welcome to AMD. Open Compute. Opteron. Micro APUs. HD. Let's see if I can find RX 6000. We're getting against graphics API. 6000 series, 6000. Yeah, I don't see anything. Sometimes I always check the site just to see if they have any links they got along. Oh, that's what we can talk. We can talk about Xilinx. AMD's making this deal go through. So AMD's always really good with getting the press information set up. I have noticed that. Xilinx summer provider of adaptive computing solutions. Management board of directors Dr. Lisa Seal and Victor Peng. Basically, AMD's buying Xilinx. Lisa Su's going to be the CEO. Their Xilinx CEO will become the president of that division of AMD, I guess. And they're going to have some of the Xilinx tricksters join AMD. And this is really going to take effect in 2021. So this is something it's a long-term thing, but it's a big company. So it's going to expect it. See, 2021. It's a $35 billion deal. It's going to be cloud. It's going to be FPGAs, SoCs, deep software enterprise. This is the part they're going to go after NVIDIA with. This is deep software enterprise, which is similar to NVIDIA's deep learning and AI features. So this is really to go after NVIDIA. Everyone's saying it's to go after Intel. Intel's already gone. But this is to go after Intel. This is to go after NVIDIA. Okay. Let me see here. Going to try to improve this stream a little bit here. See if we can get some more people in. Trying to put some tags in that people will go and look. Okay. The stream's current bitrate is over. Okay. If you, let me see here. Try to see here if I can edit this. Join. Take a step back in the largest Radeon graphics revolution history. Okay. Well, and I'll be right back. Welcome to the stream. Here we go. I plan these things too early, I think, and then there's not too many people interacting, so I don't have very much to talk about. So if you have a question, please ask me. Feel free to ask me questions, because I would love to answer your questions. Like I said, I'm just really here now. I've kind of go over some of my spiel, and I am waiting to hear what you might have to ask me. And then we can, of course, we're going to get started with the stream. Oh, they popped up on the website. Here it goes. So this is what they do when they're just getting ready to launch that stream. Like I said, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. Drop the questions in the chat. I'd be more than happy to answer them. I'm super excited to, get this launch underway and such. Tell me what card you're looking for. What card you would like to see today. Where you think AMD is going to sit with Ampere. I will tell you it's going to be surprising. It's going to be amazing. And it's going to be shocking to any of those NVIDIA fanboys. I've seen people, they're like, yeah, even though AMD is going to have a competitor with the 3080, it's not going to be good, or AMD is whatever. They're definitely not going to go over the 3080, which we know they're going to go all the way. They said they're covering the whole product stack. They're going for that 3090. They might not beat it, but they're going for it. And that's really, we're picking up momentum now. The ball is rolling, guys. AMD is a snowball down a big old hill, and they are building momentum. They are innovating. Like I spoke a moments ago about the Xilinx, AMD acquiring Xilinx. They have deep learning features, FPGAs, SoCs. They're going after NVIDIA. This isn't Intel. Intel, the war was won, and AMD did this methodically. They launched Zen 3 to kill off Intel. They focused all their energies to dominate the market, dominate Intel in the market. Once they sealed the deal with Intel, they are moving on now to NVIDIA. So RDNA1 was, let's get some bases, let's get some innovation out there. Let us, basically what it was a beta test for RDNA2. They threw RDNA1 out there, and they were like, let's see what works, let's see what doesn't, let's see how people react, and let us improve upon the consumers' reactions, something that Intel never does. They go, let us take that experience, we're going to take their input, we're going to put this all in RDNA2, and they have made changes and such on RDNA2 based on what people have said, and we saw that with the clock speeds, how they wanted to compete with the 3090 and stuff, because people went so crazy over the 3090, they went so crazy over the 3080 that AMD knew there was a market for such a card. They knew they could push a card high and people would buy it because they did with NVIDIA, and when they saw an opportunity, when NVIDIA's availability was so low, they saw an opportunity and they took that opportunity, or they're taking that opportunity today at about 25 minutes to really go after NVIDIA, and it's going to be just like Zen. RDNA is going to, according to Lisa Su, age like fine wine. We saw how Zen started. More cores, then better clocks, then more cores, then better clocks, lower latency. It basically beat out Intel, and now we're going to see the RDNA 2. RDNA 1 was good. It had, a fair amount of cores, good clocks, decent latency, performed very well in 1044p, or not 1044p, 1444p. RDNA 2 is going to have 4K. It's going to have more cores. It's going to have higher clocks. It's going to have decreased latency due to the infinity cache. It's going to offer ray tracing. And then you're going to see RDNA 3. It's going to have an I/O die. It's going to work off a chiplet design. We're going to see innovations in cooling. We're going to see further innovations in latency. We're going to see an enhanced node. We know RDNA 3 is going to be at least a 7 nanometer EUV node, if not a 5 nanometer or 5 nanometer EUV node. That's why I said all this Ampere 7 nanometer stuff is too late, too little, and NVIDIA knows it, because RDNA 2, which already very well utilizes a 7 nanometer node, is moving from the 7 nanometer node to at least a 7 nanometer plus node or something of the like. And we know that, even if NVIDIA can secure stock at TSMC, they're not going to be able to get the amount of stock that NVIDIA will get at TSMC because, or AMD will get at TSMC because AMD doesn't try to one-up TSMC. TSMC is a little too smart, and NVIDIA knows that. NVIDIA's not playing anything funny. NVIDIA tried to play something funny with them, and they end up getting kicked too with Samsung, which has virtually no experience making large chips, and that shows in Ampere. Let's look at the spreadsheet here. Top Ampere, or actually we'll say lower Ampere. We'll say second die, 1700 megahertz. Okay, 1730 megahertz. We have to put that 30 because in Ampere the extra 30 megahertz is a huge deal. Okay, this is the middle die for RDNA 2, the second down die, 2500 megahertz. That's a big difference. That's a very, very big difference. We're looking at a 770 megahertz difference between Ampere and RDNA 2. And that metric right there. That's what I'm saying. It's not just clocks. And clocks do play a big role in the sense that, we have a 3090 with 82 GPU cores, 6900 XT with 80, but the clocks are higher. And we see the 3070 with 46. And we see the 6900 XT with 40, but there's somewhere it beats it out. Like AMD, even though they have less compute units or less GPU cores, the higher clocks here, essentially AMD's base clocks for RDNA 2 are the same or higher than NVIDIA's boost clocks. So even though they're 2 or 4 or 6 GPU cores off, those clock speeds are and because of that 7-nanometer process, are literally the base clocks are higher than NVIDIA's boost clocks, which I find to be very, very amazing. I guess if you know already, I'm going to link this spreadsheet in the description here. Check this spreadsheet out. I update it all the time when new leaks come out, or when a lot of this here, like I said, I ran off leaks, but I took a different approach to leaks where I would see more past the direct information that was leaked and start putting two to two together. And that was how I was able to come up with accurate numbers so early. And like I said, I had some accurate numbers all the way back in July. So, and I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this to give add some credibility to my information. You can go back and watch my video and such, but to give my information some credibility to a sense. And in July, like you're gonna say, well, there was no NVIDIA cache. Well, yeah, in July we didn't know anything about NVIDIA cache. That was more of an August September thing. That we've really come to understand late September, early October. But I'm gonna link this here real quick, and I'm gonna put it in the chat. But yeah, there are some things, like I said, that I did not get. What in the world? Well, my AMD drivers just appeared. Spreadsheet live link, and there's also a link to this in my last video too. So I will post this here. Oh, I do this every time. I copy the link there, and I don't copy the sharing link, and it doesn't work. Okay, and I will paste this in the chat. I have another window up running with the chat, so I will be able to communicate with y'all. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so yeah, if you take a look at that, yeah, like I said, AMD, you know, this is a revolution. This is a revolution, and this is also an evolution of the RDNA architecture of the Radeon graphics industry. And it's going to be very impressive. I know they did the little leaks. I mean, it was crazy. They would leak the naming scheme. They leaked the naming scheme. 6000 series, everyone went mad. They leaked the cooler design, everyone went mad. They haven't leaked a single specification, okay? And people have already gone absolutely stir crazy over this stuff. The hype is up. Everyone's on the choo-choo train at this point. So AMD, and I think AMD knows this. You know, Lisa Sue mentioned in her last live stream, the episode 1 of this journey, as I'm calling it, that she's listened to what people have been saying. She even called the card Big Navi, which is something that was initially started by Red Gaming Tech, and I will drop the link to that channel too. I like to drop links for people that I refer to in my videos. So I will drop a link in the chat to him. You can take a look at his channel if you have not already. But he originally coined the Big Navi term, and now here we are, Big Navi. She's even calling it Big Navi. So AMD does listen. They know the stakes are high because they know this is the chance. NVIDIA's stock was terrible. It was absolutely horribly terrible. We know that NVIDIA was using an inferior node. We know NVIDIA Ampere's pulling, you know, on different cards. They're pulling 480 watts. I don't think AMD on an AIB model, an overclocked AIB model, is going to hit over 350. So these things produce a bunch of heat. They eat power. Most people had to get a new power supply, which that's another pain. Higher power, cleaner power supply. You're going to need a cleaner power supply. Like, you can't go out and get a bronze power supply. You need at least a gold power supply with Ampere. So that's even more money you have to pay. And then depend upon, if you're probably paying for a new GPU, you're probably going to modular ones. That's more money. So you're spending a ton of money on a new power supply. You're spending a ton of money on a graphics card if you can get one. And it was a lot. It was a lot, and that was a disaster. The performance was not as good as they said it was. And the 3090 was a complete ripoff. So AMD understands people are upset. AMD understands that things aren't whatever, and I think they're trying to work towards creating something something better. That's just really how I see it at this point. But I think they know the opportunity is here. The opportunity is real, and I think they're going to go with it. So that is kind of the stakes are high for Nvidia, or not Nvidia, AMD. The stakes are high, very very high. But you know, it's it really is truly the time for them to shine. This is history in the making. We have seen there used to be so many graphics cards manufacturers. Actually, I have one I want to talk about here in a second, but used to be so many back in the day, and we had a few survivors. We had ATI Radeon, we had Nvidia, obviously. We had 3D, I think it was something 3D. But there were several different companies. Now we're down to really two. Intel, if you count their graphics, which that's going to be a disaster. Because if they can't even get their CPUs together, and I mean, yes, they have integrated graphics experience, so they can't even get their CPUs together, there is no way they're going to come out with graphics cards. I mean, it's going to take them 5-10 years to even really get a foothold in the industry. Because they already have such a bad reputation with CPUs. And we know that it's going to be at least another year or two before they get out these cards, and their reputation's only going to continue to deteriorate. And then add on, obviously, how well AMD's doing, how well NVIDIA's doing. I mean, Intel's graphics industry, it's going to take 5-10 years to really just even establish a name and establish trust. And that is if they have a good product. So that is if they can get over their corporate quarreling and move on and just work to get a good product out and make the company do well. So this is really it. But one thing I want to talk about, and this is a company, this is only a brief story, but apparently there's a company called Imagination Tech. Imagination Technologies, GPU. And they're supposedly going into the GPU market. I don't know if they're going to be competing with AMD and NVIDIA, but from what I'm seeing, they're trying to get into the GPU market somewhere. Let me see here. COVID-19, nope. Graphics Solutions. Let's see if it's in here. So it looks like here they do a lot of server work. You can tell by the complex product IDs and such. Let me see here if I can find IBG series, cloud, multi-GPU. Yeah, it was a little bit of, okay, enter data center market. Apparently they're not in the data center market, my bad. SoCs for desktop. Okay, here it is. So they're looking at doing some SoCs for desktop and data center. So that sounds like more of a workstation type scenario. But this is something I just think we should kind of keep an eye on because this could be in the future. We're talking probably, I'd say five years, I'd say, is when it would really take shape, when they could really roll in. And they're already an established company. They have a fairly good reputation. Even though people don't know them, they're not like Intel where they're just doing an abysmal job. And Intel just sold out their NAND business to SK Hynix, for example. They wouldn't have done that if they weren't hurting for cash. Because, I mean, yes, we know the SD market, SSD market is, SSD prices are going down and such. Obviously, it is changing and such, but Intel sold off their whole NAND business. I mean, they had to need the cash, and I think they're trying to put all that money into marketing. And that's the other thing. AMD's marketing compared to Intel, for what they have, they're doing quite well because, and frankly, I think their biggest strategy for marketing, honestly, is just doing something crazy, doing something unexpected, building hype, because they don't have the money like Intel where they can throw out commercials and such, and all those ads that you'll see for an Intel. You never really see an AMD ad. I honestly don't think I've ever seen one to this day. But AMD, that strategy is working for them. It's working well. And I think AMD, Intel and NVIDIA are all about power, money, strength, whatever. I think AMD is more of the, they're using wit, they're using intelligence. They're trying to find the loopholes and things to be able to still do the same or better job than NVIDIA or Intel, but they're doing it while they don't have to spend as much money, they don't have to jump through as many hoops, they don't have to risk losing. So yeah, I see things going fairly well. Oh, one other thing. Big Navi, there was supposed to be an RDNA Big Navi, and I think that was gonna be like a 64 compute unit card, and they canceled that. And really, what I'm seeing with that is just they took that, and I think they just weren't ready. And I think at the time, the 20 series was already out, and it was doing well. I think NVIDIA might even launch the 2080 Ti, and I think AMD was like, we can't do this yet because RDNA, we know the driver issues. That was a hardware issue. So, and that's why, because I was sitting here like, I have a Sapphire 5700 XT Nitro Plus, and it's a triple fan card, big beefy card, and I was like, well, goodness, my cards never crashed. Well, here's why. Sapphire is a tier 1 AIB partner, so they're going to get the better yielding chips, they're going to get the better quality silicon. So that's why I wasn't experiencing crashes, because those driver issues that we heard about were actually hardware issues they were trying to fix with drivers. So we know there was things wrong with the silicon on RDNA1 or RDNA. So that is why so the drivers, everyone's like, oh my gosh, AMD's drivers, oh my gosh, AMD drivers. It wasn't the drivers, it was the hardware. And that was something that was just revealed like a month or two ago. So even though AMD's hired on a better software department, and they've hired on more people, and they're putting more money towards that, which partially today, for example, we're going to see, this is something no one's talking about that I'm super excited about. We're going to see a DLSS solution in about 9 minutes, guys. We're going to see AMD go after DLSS. And that's part of the reason, but I think they are trying to invest more in their drivers, but it wasn't a driver issue. And we know RDNA2, like I said, look at the clock speeds. Look at the performance. We saw a demo on the 8th, 20 days ago, that was very, very impressive. RDNA2 was very, very impressively performing against Ampere in that demo, and they were still tweaking cards. That was 20 days ago. They were still tweaking cards, and obviously that video was made before it was put out, obviously, so give or take a few more days from that. So AMD could have had potentially 25 days. That's almost a month to change things, tweak things, make things better. And that's what I'm saying. AMD is going to, do something amazing. But that whole driver thing was a hardware error. RDNA2, we know the silicon is better. Obviously, TSMC 7-nanometer process is amazing. We saw that in Zen 2. We saw that in Zen 3. Obviously, AMD's completely redesigned their architecture. They've gotten all of the GCN. I'm going to call it GCN. I go blank sometimes. I like doing this raw, uncut format, but I go blank sometimes. But I think it was the GCN they eliminated from the architecture. And it's 100% RDNA architecture now. Before they had 50%. It was a 50-50 kind of deal. Now it's not. So AMD, supposedly through that, at least what I'm thinking, have fixed those hardware errors. Goodness, I'm so excited. So excited. It's almost here. But they fixed those hardware errors, and I don't think we'll have an issue this time around. If you remember, NVIDIA had driver issues. No one talked about them. But NVIDIA actually at one point had more driver issues than AMD did, which I found to be very, very interesting. But here we go. We are about 5 minutes away, and AMD, these streams tend to start at like 12:01. So it tends to be a little bit off, and then I think there's like a 15-second delay on my end, which I have no idea why. I have ultra low latency on 14. I'm not on 1440p or 4K, so I don't know. And the bit rates, it's saying the bit rates whatever, but I don't know. Let me see. Stream was healthy, stream was excellent, and the bit rate went down. So let me see here. I Google this. Okay. Oh dear. Oh. Ultra low latency. High quality live streams. Yeah, I don't know. Are you guys seeing like a quality difference on your end? Because it's saying that my quality's not. Now it says it's good. I want to make sure, like I said, this stream here, it's gonna be focusing. They're gonna be playing demos. They're gonna be playing clips, and I want to make sure the quality's good. If that makes any sense, I want to make sure that there's some good quality on this stream. So yeah, let me know. Let me know if there are any issues with the quality of this stream, so I can change some settings and improve things. For, like I said, this is all for you, the user. This is all, without you guys, this channel wouldn't be possible. What I'm doing wouldn't be possible. You guys are the ones that keep me motivated, keep me making videos, keep me making content. And I want to ultimately provide the highest quality, the best experience for you. And I've tried, I've redone my logo. I have done a channel intro, an improved intro. I've added some enhanced audio features. I tried doing a 4K video, so I am trying the best I can to give you the highest quality experience, because I want to provide, my goal as a channel really is to provide something that the viewers want, not something that's regurgitating corporate narratives. These are all my thoughts. I'm not leaning towards AMD or NVIDIA or Intel. I'm stating it as it is. If AMD would, for example, if their launch, they would have scalpers going up to their cards that we don't know yet. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't have a time machine, but if they would have low availability and scalpers and all the same problems NVIDIA had, I would criticize them just as hard, maybe even harder than NVIDIA, because they saw what happened with NVIDIA's launch. They watched that 2 months before they launched. Or a month before they launched. So I will criticize, companies as needed. I will give credit where credit is due. Right now, I'm giving credit because I think credit is due here. As far as the Infinity Cache innovation is going, as far as AMD's, extremely impressive architecture revolution here. With RDNA2, but like I said, if this launch is disappointing, if the availability is bad, if the pricing is insane, I will criticize AMD just as hard as I criticize NVIDIA or Intel. So that is simply my take there on that. I'm just going to be completely honest before this stream starts. That is what you're going to see. If there's things that are impressive, I'm going to be right here with you on that choo-choo train. But if it's a disappointing launch, then I'm going to be critical. I'm not gonna sit there and go out there and say they're a terrible company, whatnot. But I am gonna be critical of AMD and how they've presented things and such. If they have any deceiving slides, for example, I will criticize there. But that's just me trying to be honest. But that is ultimately what I'm trying to do. Please let me know what you think. And I'm going to, like I said, we're just gonna kind of sit back here now. We're gonna wait for this launch. And it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. Oh dear. 100,000 waiting. Wow. I wish I could be like AMD. That'd be crazy. 100,000 people waiting. That would be crazy. That would be absolutely crazy. Wow. Okay. Should I watch on NVIDIA's site, or should I watch on, or not NVIDIA's site, AMD's site, or should I watch on the YouTube channel here? Which do you guys think would be better? Please let me know in the chat which do you think would be better, because I am interested in seeing which one to go to exactly. Right now I'm on the YouTube one, but I also have the website one set up. I'm going to be muting my mic here in about 2 minutes. So once that countdown starts, once it goes to 0, I'm muting my mic. All my commentary will be in the chat so you can hear the entire presentation, and then I will give a post launch, whatever. If there is like a music break and such, I may unmute my mic and talk through that. But I didn't get a lot of opportunities for that in Zen 1 or the Zen 3 launch, and I know people want to hear, ultimately want to hear what I am talking about, or what I'm talking about, what NVIDIA is, or not what NVIDIA, goodness, I'm going blank, what AMD is going to be presenting here. So yeah, here we go. This is the launch. It's here. It's crazy. This is gonna be exciting. This is gonna be very, very exciting. Here we go. Ray tracing is amazing on this, by the way. There's the die. That's that big die we saw.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today for this second half of our next-gen PC platform launch. I loved seeing all of your excitement when we introduced the Ryzen 5000 series a few weeks ago. It was actually the most watched launch video in AMD history. And I must say, we're very proud of what Zen 3 brings to gamers. But today is all about Big Navi. I'm really excited to show you the new RDNA2 architecture and our full stack of Radeon RX 6000 series products. As you know, we brought the first generation of RDNA architecture to market in 2019 with the Radeon RX 5700 XT. And with the combined launch of the 5700 XT and the Ryzen 3000 series, AMD became the first company to introduce a high-performance CPU and GPU together. And we delivered a winning combination of computing and gaming performance, including CPU and GPU of the year in 2019 from PC Gamer. Now, 2020 is really the year of the gamer. I know many of you can't wait to get your hands on the next-gen consoles. Whether it's the Microsoft Xbox Series X and Series S or the Sony PlayStation 5, we are so proud that AMD is enabling these incredible gaming experiences, which is why we like to say that AMD is where gaming begins. Now, earlier this month, I showed you our new AMD Ryzen 5000 series, the world's best gaming processor. Our next-gen Ryzen processor combines absolute performance leadership in single-threaded performance, gaming, and creative workloads with leadership performance per watt. And for millions of you, it's a drop-in upgrade to your existing AM4 motherboard. Now, as successful as we've been with Ryzen, many of you have asked us to compete at the highest end of gaming GPUs as well. And today, we're ready to show you exactly what we've been working on. I'm so excited to show you the Radeon RX 6000 series. It's absolutely the most powerful gaming GPU we've ever built. I think you'll be pretty pleased with what you see. I often talk about the fact that we're on a journey, and we are on a journey. Just like with our Zen CPU architecture, we're on a multi-year journey in GPUs with our RDNA architecture. We designed RDNA specifically for gaming, and our first-gen RDNA products delivered 50% better performance per watt over our GCN architecture. We wanted to take another big step with RDNA2 and deliver another 50% generational improvement in perf per watt. And with RDNA2, we also set the very ambitious goal to deliver leadership gaming performance. And now I'm very happy to show you for the first time Big Navi. This is the chip at the heart of our high-end Radeon RX 6000 series. 26.8 billion transistors built with leading-edge 7-nanometer process technology. Big Navi is our first product powered by RDNA2. We have made incredible progress on the architectural front. And now let me turn it over to AMD fellow Laura Smith to give you more details on the architecture.
Thank you, Lisa. Our graphics architecture roadmap has a clear goal: gaming leadership across the ecosystem. The GCN was a great architecture, but we knew we needed to rethink graphics and build the best engine for the future. We wanted to build a set of technologies that game developers could use across all platforms. The first major step was RDNA, introduced last year. RDNA was a new architecture and used a 7-nanometer process node, which helped us with the large initial gains. We committed to you that our engineers had plans in the works for RDNA2, and we would be back quickly with another significant improvement. By combining our expertise in CPU design, deep gaming history, and broad ecosystem partnerships, RDNA2 is built to be the gaming architecture for all gamers across console, PC, and beyond. We had some very ambitious goals with RDNA2. Significantly higher performance, 50% improvement in performance per watt, and new hardware features. Individually, each of these goals is challenging. When combined, they become extremely difficult because as you push performance, a natural side effect is more power. New features also mean more computation, further challenging both speed and power metrics. For RDNA2, we made significant gains in all these areas. The compute unit is the core of the architecture. We advanced all aspects of the compute unit design, leveraging techniques first developed in CPUs. We deployed pervasive fine-grained clock gating, reimagined the pipeline to aggressively maximize performance while minimizing data movement. In combination, these elements made the compute units 30% more energy efficient, allowing them to be pushed faster. Gaming at 4K requires more data to be brought into the chip. The amount of data more than doubles as we move from 1440p to 4K. The more efficient the memory subsystem is, the higher fidelity the images are, and the more you can push the frame rates. We took a new approach to solving this technical challenge for gaming and deployed a graphics-optimized, high-density, high-speed cache based on the Zen L3 cache. We call this the Infinity Cache. The Infinity Cache minimizes DRAM bottlenecks, latencies, and power consumption. Our specialized Infinity Cache, combined with a 256-bit G6 interface, delivers more than twice the effective bandwidth of a traditional 384-bit G6 solution and at lower power consumption. High frequency is important for gaming performance. RDNA2 is built with custom libraries and high-speed design flows, maximizing frequency in 7 nanometer. With RDNA2, our silicon design and architectural improvements, we are able to deliver 30% faster frequencies in the same 7 nanometer process node. Pulling all this together, the RDNA2 architecture beats our aggressive performance per watt goal, achieving 54%. With RDNA2, we also focused on bringing new hardware features into the architecture. We partnered closely with Microsoft on DirectX 12 Ultimate features, including DirectX ray tracing, variable rate shading, mesh shaders, and sampler feedback. RDNA2 will also support Microsoft Direct Storage API. We're excited about this new API that will enhance the gaming experience by significantly reducing game asset load times from large SSDs. We compared the performance of RDNA2 to our prior generation, and when we put it all together, on average, RDNA2 delivers double the performance and with great power efficiency. We are so proud of what we've accomplished with RDNA2, and we are not stopping. The team is executing to plan, RDNA2 is here, and the RDNA3 team is well into execution. Let me welcome Scott Herkelman to show RDNA2 in our new RX 6000 series products.
It is Navi 2X because it's 2 times performance, and that's what they were referring to. That Infinity Cache is a beast.
Hello to all of the gamers tuning in, and welcome to our Radeon RX 6000 series product reveal. As a hardcore League of Legends and Borderlands 3 player and playing these games on our RX 6000 series over the past few weeks, I'm so excited and proud to be here with you today. Allow me to introduce you to our brand new AMD Radeon RX 6800 XT graphics card. The 6800 XT is purposefully designed to play all of your favorite AAA games at 4K and below resolutions, and at the highest quality settings available. It comes with 72 compute units and runs with a game clock of over 2 gigahertz. This card features a 2.25 gigahertz boost clock that pushes some of the highest frequencies we've ever achieved, all thanks to the incredible work done by our engineering team on the RDNA2 architecture. The 6800 XT will also feature 128 megabytes of Infinity Cache that is power efficient while driving the bandwidth needed for high-resolution gaming. Paired with 16 gigabytes of blazing fast GDDR6 memory, you'll be ready for the most demanding high-resolution games that you want to play. And we've delivered all of this incredible performance with a total board power of just 300 watts. As you can see, the 6800 XT not only delivers on 4K 60 frames per second, but in most cases, it overperforms. We've been maxing out all the settings in games like Battlefield 5, Borderlands 3, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and the performance has just been awesome to experience. Let's take a look at how the 6800 XT competes head-to-head against the latest offering from the competition. Here, we compare their best API scores to our best API scores, the best versus the best. And as you can see, the 6800 XT trades blows and has some significant wins across a variety of titles. And it does all of this at less power consumption than the competition. For the 1440p gamers out there, we have some great results for you too. Over the last several years, more and more gamers have adopted 1440p monitors as their display of choice. Here are the same games we showed you before, running the same best versus best API scenario at 1440p resolution. I personally love seeing so many games running at over 100 frames per second with all of the settings maxed out. This is just an incredible amount of performance. All in all, the 6800 XT is a fantastic choice for enthusiast gamers. We even have more performance we are delivering with two very cool features. The first is a one-click overclocking button we've built into our Radeon software package that we call Rage Mode. Now, Rage Mode automatically takes advantage of the overclocking headroom built into your GPU to give you every bit of performance it has to offer. And the second is made possible because of the fact that only AMD can deliver both high-performance processors and high-performance GPUs. We call this new feature AMD Smart Access Memory. AMD Smart Access Memory unlocks the greater amount of high-speed memory from the AMD Radeon RX 6000 series graphics cards to the AMD Ryzen 5000 series processors, and it delivers additional levels of performance in games. Simply pair these components with our 500 series chipset motherboards, enable the setting in the BIOS, and the performance uplift becomes automatic. When you combine AMD Smart Access Memory with the one-click overclocking of Rage Mode, you'll get a boost in performance in many of the games you love. We're seeing up to a 13% performance increase, and that's before game developers begin to optimize for this new capability. Now, we know a lot of you absolutely love frames per second performance just like us. However, we can also improve the game experience by reducing latency. The differences of milliseconds of latency in a competitive game can be the difference between a major win and a major loss. Last year, we pushed the industry to recognize there was a better way to provide competitive gamers with less latency from mouse click to the screen, giving competitive gamers who own the RX 5000 series a serious leg up on their competition. Today, we are pushing the boundaries again and further reducing latency in competitive games for even better results. Combining the latest implementation of Radeon Anti-Lag with the FreeSync monitor can reduce lag in your DX9 and in your DX11 games. In Fortnite, for example, gamers can realize up to 8 milliseconds of latency reduction by simply enabling this feature in Radeon software. More recently, we introduced Radeon Boost, a unique feature that's a step beyond anti-lag. For select games, Radeon Boost offers dynamic resolution in response to your mouse or controller inputs, leading to higher frame rates and, as a result, quicker responses to your input. Both Radeon Anti-Lag and Radeon Boost can be enabled via the Radeon software that comes with your graphics cards, and neither of them require a proprietary API or a game integration to provide latency-reducing benefits. As you can see, the combination of these technologies can contribute up to 37% latency reduction in highly competitive games like Fortnite running at 4K. Now, performance is king, but let's talk for a minute about how we are improving the visual experience as well. With full hardware support for DX12 Ultimate, the Radeon RX 6000 series is ready to enable ray tracing and variable rate shading in upcoming titles. We've also expanded our library of Fidelity FX features to work hand in hand with ray tracing, compute, and shader effects to enable the higher level of visual fidelity while ensuring high frame rates. For DX12 Ultimate, we've added an optimized denoiser for ray tracing effects and a variable rate shading algorithm that can adapt image quality based upon luminance and motion. We've also added a suite of compute-based effects to be used alongside ray tracing, like optimized screen space reflections and an optimized ambient occlusion. We're always looking to help developers with new initiatives and are already working on a super resolution feature to give gamers an option for more performance when using ray tracing. As of today, our AMD Fidelity FX supported games list has grown to 35 titles using a variety of our features. So let's take a look at some of these new features in an upcoming game with never-before-seen footage from Counterplay Studios and their fantastic game, Godfall. Godfall is a brand new third-person perspective, next-generation looter slasher that challenges gamers to engage in high-impact melee combat as they hunt for loot, equip legendary armor, and defeat vicious enemies. Leveraging the latest DirectX 12 Ultimate API, Godfall features DirectX ray tracing, variable rate shading, and supports Fidelity FX casts to deliver incredible levels of stunning fidelity. I personally can't wait to play this game, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Now, let's hear from a few more of our game developer partners about the work they've done with us on RDNA2 and what you can expect in their games coming soon.
I'm here to talk about Far Cry 6 and some of the new technologies we've been collaborating with AMD on to make our game the most immersive and beautiful Far Cry ever. We've been working together to take full advantage of the new Radeon Rx 6000 series and RDNA2 architecture for best possible experience. We've been very impressed by AMD's latest tech and joined forces to bring Fidelity FX CAS, DXR ray tracing, and variable rate shading to Far Cry 6.
We're using VRS Tier 2 to use a compute shader to generate a control texture which analyzes the luminance and gives us control at an 8x8 tile level as to what shader rate we're going to be using. This enables us to render much more quickly but keep the same quality level.
We're excited to team up with great partners like AMD to bring some new features to World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft is built on a custom engine using the DirectX 12 Ultimate API. Another great feature on the RX 6000 is DXR ray tracing. Here you can see ray tracing evident in how the shadows are interacting with your character. What you're seeing involves incredibly complex computations on the RX 6000. This is a level of realism that hasn't been possible until recently.
The RDNA2 architecture and the Radeon 6000 series allowed us to introduce some of the latest DirectX 12 Ultimate technologies into our engine. Real-time ray-traced shadows allow us to introduce additional shadow casting lights into the scene that provide much more immersion and detail into the world.
Over the next few weeks, developers of these incredible games will show never-before-seen gameplay with gorgeous graphics that use a combination of ray tracing and fidelity effects running on the Radeon RX 6000 series graphics cards. Be sure to check out amd.com starting tomorrow to see more. I'm happy to announce that the Radeon RX 6800 XT will be available on November 18th, starting at $649. But we are not done yet. Today, we are also announcing the Radeon RX 6800 with 60 compute units, a 1.815 gigahertz game clock with a boost clock of over 2.1 gigahertz. It will feature the same 128 megabytes of Infinity cache and be available with 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory with a board power of just 250 watts. The Radeon RX 6800 is a fantastic entry into 4K gaming, delivering more performance than the 2080 Ti, which was launched at $999. The 6800 delivers over 60 frames per second in all of these games, giving you the confidence you need to step into the 4K gaming experience. That same great performance extends to 1440p resolution, where the RX 6800 tears through the latest games, delivering about 18% more performance than the 2080 Ti on average. The Radeon RX 6800 will be available to gamers starting at a price of $579 on November 18th. Now, let's bring back Lisa to wrap things up.
It's supposed to be 3 parts, so we'll see.
Thanks, Scott and Laura. The AMD Radeon 6800 XT and 6800 deliver simply incredible 4K and 1440p gaming experiences. This is the power of RDNA2. And once we add the smart access memory technology, gamers can even get higher frames per second when pairing Radeon 6000 GPUs with Ryzen 5000 series. Now, I saw online that some of you were wondering which big Navi product we previewed during our Ryzen 5000 launch earlier this month. For the record, that was the 6800 XT. But you know, we always save the best for last, and I always get the most fun jobs.
Here it is.
So today, that means I have one more GPU to show you. We didn't stop with the Radeon RX 6800 XT. We knew that the RDNA2 architecture could give gamers even more. I'm so excited to share with you for the very first time the AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT. Now, isn't
There it
this
is.
just absolutely gorgeous?
Oh my lord.
And you'll see that it's actually relatively compact for all the performance that it delivers. It's actually the same size as our 6800 XT card. Our top-of-the-stack Radeon GPU is built for the ultimate in 4K gaming performance. The 6900 XT combines 80 compute units with a 2.25 GHz boost clock to deliver even more performance at the highest settings. With 16 gigabytes of graphics memory, the 6900 XT is ready for the most demanding next-gen games. And with the power efficiency of RDNA2, we've been able to deliver all of this with a total board power of 300 watts. Now, Laura showed you that we achieved a 54% generational improvement in perf per watt with the 6800 XT. With the 6900 XT, we improved things even more, hitting 65% more
was the
performance per
65 I was
watt
talking
over
about in a few
first-gen
videos.
RDNA. I'm so proud of our engineers who worked incredibly hard to optimize every aspect of RDNA2 to achieve this performance. Now let's see how all of this translates to gaming performance. Running at 4K with the highest settings, the 6900 XT looks absolutely
Oh my
fantastic.
goodness.
It's extremely competitive across the board, consistently delivering high frame rates in your favorite games.
It's all down to price now.
Just take a look at the performance we see against the competition in Battlefield 5, Call of Duty, and Gears of War 5. All of this is at lower power with a smaller card form factor. Now, let's talk about price and availability. The AMD Radeon RX
I knew it!
6900
I said it,
XT will be
999.
available on December 8th, starting at $999. You asked for AMD to bring the highest graphics performance to the gaming
That's
market,
something, right?
and we're doing just that. I hope you now feel that with the Ryzen 5000 series and the Radeon 6000 series, AMD is your best choice for your next generation PC gaming platform. Whether you want a game with ultimate performance in AAA titles at 4K resolution, or you're an esports fan who needs incredibly high frame rates and responsiveness, across the board for every gamer at every price, AMD has the CPU and GPU combination for you. So I hope you're as excited as we are. We can't wait to get these products in your hands. So look for the Ryzen 5000 series starting November 5th, the Radeon RX 6800 series starting November 18th, and the Radeon RX 6900 XT starting December 8th. To wrap up here, this has been quite a journey for us, and I'm incredibly proud of our CPU and GPU teams who have worked years for this moment. AMD is delivering the best to the industry. We want to thank all of you for your passion and enthusiasm and for always pushing us to be the best.
Well, that was surely interesting. So, initially, I think I was more right initially than I was when I changed things from the looks of it. Let me see here if I can go history. I just want to see here. I had this document a while back. Let's see when I first created it. Okay, so I had here. So yeah, so I had a 21. So I was low when I started out the 12th. I think I changed it. Yeah, I changed it to 20. So I was probably the most correct here with the 2280 megahertz because it's about a little off. Yeah, that was a lot. I have to say, if NVIDIA comes out with a 3080 Ti, I think that it's going to be an issue. And I don't get the 6800. They put the 6800 between the 3080 and 3070. The 3070, so it beats the 3070, so they can charge more. It definitely beats because the 3070 is a little bit less than a 2080 Ti. So The 3070 was like $500, so it was a $50 increase. And you get, that's why they were going to launch the 16 gigabyte card, and they ended up not doing it. That's why they ended up launching that card, because it was never going to work, because AMD was going to have a card that would have been more performance, and it would have had 8 gigabytes more memory. But yeah, I get it, but yeah, on the low end, for people who are just trying to get in, I don't know. I guess that they went 4K and nothing else there, which, I mean, I don't know. It worked out well. I would say I'm slightly disappointed in the clocks. I think the clocks could have been higher by a little bit, but I think that would have given them more of an edge. But apparently, I mean, you saw the 3090 especially. If we go back here.
The 6900.
See here. So, which it still pulls 300 watts. So I don't know how it still pulls 300 watts with. I don't get that. That makes no sense. There's some sort of trickery going on here, because the other one pulled 300 watts. Yeah, if we. Okay, so we see overall. Let's see. Win, loss. There's 3 wins, loss. Win, 4 wins, 5, tie, 6. So 6 wins. Yeah, I mean, they only technically lost to NVIDIA 3 times. And they tied once. And that was against the 3090. With 4K. So, yeah, I don't know. I definitely say that they went across the whole product stack. But yeah, I don't know if they would have gotten a little bit more on the clocks. I think they could have done a little bit better. Now, mind you, there's going to be AIB models and such. I don't know. They never mentioned any of these as an AMD exclusive, though. So I don't know how true that is. I don't see why they would keep the 6900 XT as an AMD exclusive if it's going to compete with the 3090 and it's barely making it over that line. Like, it's some cases you'll see, but most of the time it's barely winning. So I don't know. I don't know. And then if we go back here, the Infinity Cache, I'm truly impressed with. I think that's going to play off in the end. Like I said, this is their benchmarking, so we don't have, actual consumer data yet. And you can see here, it definitely beats out Ampere's memory.
Combined with
So we don't need to worry about that. You can see here, definitely, 2x performance, which is why they call Navi 2x. So Navi the RDNA3, I don't know. I think they called it 3x here and there. Okay, this is interesting. So it's the same clock speeds as biggest Navi, but it's cut down. It's cut down 8 CUs. Okay, so it's the same card essentially. So I don't know how the 8 additional CUs aren't pulling any more power. That's kind of interesting. And then let's see here if we can look at the data. That's just their data. That's not competition's data. Okay. Versus competition. Oh dear. Okay. So yeah, this card pretty much is a winner, I would say, in most scenarios. Nah, actually not. The more I look at it, not, but it depends, I guess, on what they're exactly going for. I mean, you got some cases it does insanely well, and some it loses, slightly, but it doesn't seem like it really loses by a large margin. And then obviously, we'll look at the 6800. Put it all together. Let's see here. There's another card. Where is there? Okay. Yeah, so.
Which are the same, $120 and $99.
Okay, so here, for example, this is where it really gets interesting. So this is the 3070 competitor. And they don't lose a single time. So, and I don't know if these seem to be, I don't know if this is like a hand-picked, benchmarking situation, but it seems like it's pretty solid. It seems to be a solid win. So I would say this card is a solid win, and that's why they charged higher, was because it was a solid win and it offers so much more memory. So this here is a very, very good card. This is a 2080 Ti killer for sure, because it slightly beats performance and it has all that additional VRAM. But yeah, let's look at the specs here. Darn it. Let's see here if we can.
1.5 gigahertz game clock with a boost clock of over 2.1 gigahertz. It will feature the same 128 megabytes of Infinity cache and be available with 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory. With a board power.
Okay. Now also, this is one of the things I got. I was told there was a 60 CU, and I was told there was a 64 CU, and there's a 60 CU. So that was a back and forth kind of thing. But this apparently they had to do a 60 CU. The only way I could see them beating like a T. Oh, I get it. They saved the 6900 to beat the 3080 Ti. If the 3080 Ti would come out, they'd launch a 6900. That's why they saved it. Like, there's no way they can whatever. Because the 6900 beats in some cases the 3090. So it was right off our. I said exactly, if it trades blows, if it's whatever, I think it's going to be $999. Spot on. Got that right. And yeah, I don't know. Because this here, is it's interesting the way it's very interesting the way it is, the lineup is, because if they do launch that 3070 Ti, it's going to be a bit of a problem as far as the naming scheme. And I think AMD seemed confident NVIDIA won't. I don't know, because if they do, it's going to be a little bit detrimental to AMD's lineup there. But I think they have plenty of room to beat the 3080 Ti. The 3090 is almost entirely locked out, so they can't. NVIDIA really can't go any farther with the 3090, but they can go farther with the 3080. And there's a card floating out there that they might use to go farther. But yeah, and I know now AMD won't go over 16 gigabytes of memory, because we know the 3090 isn't going to be able to go over that, just because the 24 because of heat. So that'll stay the same, and they can't go backwards. So we know the maximum memory from AMD is going to be 16 gigabytes, obviously. It's really down to the AIBs. It's really down like Sapphire. There's a Sapphire card that comes in and it's clocking around 2400 megahertz. That'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty good, I think. But that's what you got to rely on at this point. But yeah, the clocks are fairly impressive, I would say. I think performance is certainly. I'm very worried about the 3070 Ti. I'm very worried about NVIDIA counter. But hell, both NVIDIA tests were done with the same CPU. Okay, that's what's something I was having in the back of my mind. I was thinking of was about the CPU. I would assume so. I would assume there was a control group, and I would assume they used a Zen 3 CPU on those cards. Let me actually look. Let me look here, and let me do some comparisons. Okay, so we can kind of guesstimate numbers of FPS here. Let's see. We're gonna go with one that's almost a spot on. So, what card is this? I don't know what card this is. 3070 FPS. Okay, so here's all I'll find out. Where are the... Okay, let's see if it's in here. Tom's hardware frames. I don't know what this is even in. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we're seeing the 3070 is getting 144 frames per second in 2K. Okay. 2K Ultra, medium, medium. Wait, what? Because this here is in 4K, 60 FPS. Okay, this doesn't make a lot of sense to me here because this is not in 4K. Gotta find something with 4K benchmarks. 1440p, okay. Now I gotta go down to 4K, okay. Okay, here we go. We're at the right spot. So, the 3070 is getting 52 FPS. Hold on. Okay, and AMD is getting 62, and it's just below. So yes, this is on the same Zen CPU. I'm gonna say because we know Ampere does well with Zen, because there's no way if it's getting here, we're getting Founders Edition, 52 FPS. There's no way. Okay, let's compare. Let's do some more comparisons. Let's see here if we can pull out. Okay, here we go. So let's see. Okay. Okay. So 60 FPS. So this one really does well. So this is 48. Okay. So we're not going off the overclocked. We're going off the regular benchmarks here, by the way. 48. So yeah, I mean, I would say it's probably off a Zen CPU. And some of these aren't AMD optimized either. I noticed they use the same benchmarking as they wanted to do a direct comparison to NVIDIA. They didn't shy away from that. That's interesting. Okay, so we're at 83 here. Let's see if I can find this on here. Nope. Guess some of these they didn't. Okay. 62 we're gonna say versus 76. So yeah, I would say it's partially is a Zen 3 CPU they're using, but I do think to an extent. Yeah, I don't know, because the gap is pretty good, but I guess you'd have to compile more data, because if we look, for example, here, 4K. We're gonna put 4K in. Yeah, 4K, so 30 series, no. 3070 FE. 53, okay, that's 53, and AMD is at 62. So yeah, I would say there's a Zen 3 CPU being used on this. I just think, you know, it's hard to guess the controls. I would say probably the system they're using is the 5900X, because the 5950X is the flagship. So I'd say they're using the 5900X. That's why I'm looking forward to seeing some more normalized benchmarks. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, because the 5950X is the flagship, so they'll use that. They'll use 32 gigabytes of RAM, I think, and I think they're going to use an NVMe SSD. And actually, probably just an SSD, regular SSD, SATA SSD, to do the testing. I think that's about where we'd be. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see if we can compare Big Navi. Let's see if we can do some on Big Navi.
Now, let's talk about price and availability. The AMD Radeon power of 300 watts optimized every aspect of RDNA2 to achieve this performance. Now, let's see how all of this translates to gaming performance. Running at 4K with the highest settings, the 6900 XT looks absolutely fantastic.
Okay. So this, clearly this card is a beast of a card. 102 FPS, 120. I mean, you just have to compare it though against the 3090. So if we're able to 3090 4K benchmarks. What in the world? Okay. Let's see here. Okay. We gotta go find some competitive titles here. Okay. Let me looky. Where's the 4K? Here's the 4K. Okay. So they're getting on the gigabyte. Okay, that's not the founders. 120. And yeah, that's definitely not it. Yeah, we need a founders edition. Okay. Let's go down the charts. I feel like I've been on here. Oh dear. Okay. 4K benchmarks. Autodesk Maya. That's the ones I'm interested in, are Blender and Autodesk. And all the rendering ones. Yeah. The 3090, and this is what ultimately is going to, and that's why I told people, they're like, I'm going to get a 3090, I'm going to get a 3090, I'm going to get a 3090. I said, don't get the 3090. I said, that card is overpriced. Unless you're doing some sort of CAD workflow and you need the bondable amount of VRAM, you don't need the 3090. And for like I do a lot of CAD work, and I have an 8 GB card, and most of the time it does fine. When I'm importing some larger models into Unreal and I haven't saved things for a while, I get a warning that I need more VRAM and it crashes. But I have 8 GB, and like I said, if it handles most of the time, it might only need an extra gigabyte or two. From what I've seen, it needs anywhere from 2 to 4 more gigabytes. You don't need 24 gigabytes of VRAM. You don't. 16 is more than enough. So you get a whopping 8 gigabytes less VRAM. It's not a clean sweep, but you're saving $500. That's a pretty good bargain, in my opinion. I mean, personally, the only thing, this is a really stupid idea, I thought, but what if there was a way where there's like a PCIe slot that you plugged in, and it was like extra GPU VRAM or something like that, which I know it would be a nightmare to design something like that, but that would just be the coolest thing in my opinion. But I mean, still, would you seriously pay $500 for 8 gigabytes of VRAM? Really no additional performance? I mean, I don't find that likely. There's a very, very small market. There is a market for the 30, but it's a very, very small market. And I wouldn't even place myself in that market, to be honest. I think the 3090 is for someone who, it's really not for someone, it's for a business is what it is. It's for a really large business that does what I would say film and animation work, is where I would say that lies. So yeah, I don't think, 6900 clean sweep of the 3090 with the pricing and everything. I think that was a good card. The only disappointment I had was the 6800 and 6800 XT. Because we know the 6700 XT now, I don't know. I think it's going to come in a little bit lower than the 3070. And I thought for sure that that card could have beat the 3070. But, well, if you look here, wait, oops, I don't want to do that. 46 against 40 cores, I mean, that is a big difference. You know, yeah, you have the clocks and such, but that still is a big, big difference. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess it was more wishful thinking. I'll have to change this to 60 CUs here. But, yeah, I'm not exactly a fan of how the lineup is. I guess we'll really have to see how it plays out. I was hoping for something more, but we just, I guess I got too hopeful there. Let me update these numbers though. And we're gonna do some calculations here. Okay, so we're gonna get the teraflops for this times 2250. That's gonna be 23.04. And then 38040 times 2 times 2250. That's going to be 17. Yeah, that's going to be 17.28. Wow. That's a big difference. Much bigger difference than what I thought it was going to be between the two cards. And then we have... Oh, wait. No. It was like, that's not right. Because I got the wrong card. 4608 times 2 times 2250. That's going to be 20.74. And then here we go. 3608 times 2 times 2105. And that's 15.19 teraflops. So that's the final performance, which it's a little bit lower than what I expected. I mean, there's still room. I guess the more I look at it, like the 3070 multiply, let's see, 0.37 times 2/3. That was still pulling 14 teraflops. So I know you can't compare it to teraflops, but I'm doing it. So the big Navi push at the highest clock, or not big Navi, the 6700XT push at the highest clock is going to be 13 teraflops. And this here, and the card you would have needed was one that was 14 teraflops, so this comes in about 1.2 teraflops over. So I guess that does make sense. I just am now really hoping they don't launch. Well, I know, this is confusing. If they launch a 3070 Ti, okay, 3070 Ti we see here is 25.54 teraflops. So 25.54 times 2/3. So that's going to come at 17 teraflops. So that's, I mean, there's a spot for it, but it's just the pricing is it's all going to get confusing. The whole lineup between these two companies is confusing us. Now you're going to be like, it's not going to line up with AMD, and a lot of people are just either going to buy the slightly overperforming, because the 6800 is going to overperform on the 3070 by probably about 5-10%, I would say. So, yeah, I don't know, because by the time you get a 3080, I mean, what are you going to, and there's extra VRAM. I mean, you can get the 6800 with extra VRAM. We know VRAM sells cards. So then they would have to put extra VRAM. So then they could do a TI with 16 gigabytes of VRAM. But it's going to cost them a lot of money. NVIDIA's still not going to make money. So I don't think the 3070 Ti is going to work. I'm not shocked if they cancel that card off. I just don't see it happening based on this lineup here. And then, of course, the 6900 would be reserved for a 3080 Ti, which there's plenty of room in there for a 3080 Ti and a 6900 non-XT variant. But, yeah, I hope someone's viewing my document with me. Hello. But, yeah, that's really what I'm looking at as far as this goes. I'm not super keen to say that AMD's won, because they haven't. They're trading blows, and with the rumors of the Ti variants out there, the game still isn't won. I will say, though, on a lighter note, there's much more availability, and these cards are much more affordable. Let me go, actually. I never cut the price on the XT, the 6800 XT. Let me go back and see what that price looks like. Herkelman.
Levels of performance in games. Setting in the BIOS, smart access, informant ability, performing latency, the different both comes with, or a game combination of these 6000 series also compute effects and feature and their pack with us on RDNA.
Goodness. I'm trying to find this price. I can't find it.
Happy to announce that the Radeon RX 6800 XT will be available on November 18th, starting at $649.
Okay, so this card is trading blows with the 3080. It has more VRAM, and it comes in under $50. So this is really going to put, because if NVIDIA releases a TI, it might beat this card, but how much are people willing to pay? Like, they would have to put they would put 10 gigabytes more of GDR6 memory, which is more expensive than GDR6X memory, which is more expensive than GDR6. So that's going to cost more money. And then you've got more power draw, and this card already, in some cases, it's already $50 cheaper than the 3080. So they would be barely making money. So I don't think a TI variant actually is possible. due to that. I don't know. I don't see a TI variant. The TI variant's going to be interesting. That's what I'm caught up on. But the availability is going to be amazing. You know, I think AMD is going to have much more availability than Ampere will. And I think that, you know, the pricing is very well, you know, set out. Like I said, it's going to be about $50, $100 cheaper than Ampere. And then obviously, you know, the one, you know, beats the 3070, so it can charge more. That's how the game works. And it is on a bigger die, so they should be charging more. But I think you're going to see a lot of AMD sales just because the pricing of the VRAMs really help sell these cards, and the performance is pretty much equivalent. And like I said, I'm not so much, today's performance is amazing, it's great, it's not beating Ampere, it's trading blows, what we had to expect. RDNA3 could very well be the death blow to NVIDIA, but RDNA2 was not meant to be that, we expected that. It technically in some ways did beat Ampere, it just other situations it didn't. We won't know until final benchmarks do come out. But that being said, I'm worried about a TI variant because AMD looks like they put themselves in a hard place. If an Ampere TI variant comes out, which would be very tricky, it'd be a lot of work on NVIDIA's part. And like I said, they could barely get a 3080 out, a 3080 Ti's and whatever. And now you're going to have people buying up. Oh, that's the other issue with the 3080 Ti. Okay, 3080 is $700. Okay, so you have the VRAM, everything like that. By the time you really start to charge for a 3080 Ti, you might as well just pay the extra $100, extra $100, $150, and get the performance of the $1,500 card. Like, that's why, I don't know. I don't, the TI things, the whole thing I'm hung up on is the TI scenario. But, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm going to do a wrap-up video, you know, if I keep saying I do those and I never do them, but I'm going to try to get around to that. I want to see a couple other people, you know, their wrap-up videos, their thoughts, before I go out making stupid claims looking like an idiot like I probably just did. Yeah, oh, another thing, the Infinity Cache, the bandwidth on that is amazing. I'm beyond impressed with that, over 2 times the bandwidth, much more efficient power. High performance compute units, definitely the IPC there, breakthrough high speed design, advanced features, which the software stack is definitely getting better. And if you have an AMD CPU, you're definitely take advantage of this. I mean, either way, Ampere or AMD, obviously AMD is the top of the line now, so most people will. But you're gonna have brilliant features, which is just, it's more of a death blow to Intel that they have. Which that technology there, let me go back and see what that was called. RDNA2. Oh, it was Herkelman I was talking about, I think. Was he talking about it? He was the one talking about it. Yes. Smart access memory. So this is something similar to what they have with the power, which I've heard, you know, like I said, there are rumors about this where they could take the power and push it towards the graphics card needed or whatnot. It's something they're doing in the consoles, it's something they're doing on laptops. Now it's here at desktop. It's another advantage for buying AMD. Since NVIDIA doesn't have CPUs, they really can't create a system like this, so it is going to be a leg up. And AMD has developed the software stack. They've developed something, or they're starting to develop. They even mentioned, he mentioned that there's something similar to DLSS. He didn't say that, but let me see here if I can get to the point where he said something like that.
For a minute about how we are improving the visual experience as well. With full hardware support for DX12 Ultimate to work hand in hand with ray tracing, compute, and shader effects. DX12 Ultimate, we've added an optimized denoiser for ray tracing effects, and a variable rate shading algorithm that can adapt image quality based upon luminance and motion. We've also added a suite of compute-based effects to be used alongside ray tracing, like optimized screen space reflections and an optimized ambient occlusion. We're always looking to help developers with new initiatives and are already working on a super resolution feature to give gamers an option for more performance when using ray tracing.
So a super resolution feature is what the DLSS competitor is going to be. So I take it Fidelity is not their DLSS competitor, but that being said, they have something coming. And I think that'll be released in Q1 when they release the Navi 22 cards, the 5700 XT, or the 6700 XT, 6700, 6600 XT, 6600. That's when that's going to happen. The lineup's just a bit cloudy right now, but apart from that, I think that all in all, this is a very good launch, very solid launch. Availability is good. The specs are good. I mean, I was a bit disappointed about the clocks, but the performance is there. The VRAM is there. But a lot of the leaks were right. I just actually, before this stream, I was talking about how MSI, the ECC filings confirmed 6800 to 6800 XT with the 16 gigabytes. So we knew the entire Navi 21 die had those 16 gigabytes. Actually, I want to see real quick too. The 6800, did I still have the 128 megabytes of Infinity Cache on it? I believe it would. Yes. So all these top dies have the 128 megabytes of Infinity Cache. So you're getting the same memory experience throughout the cards, basically. I mean, it is affected by clocks, but the clocks are basically the same between these cards. So you're going to look about the same memory experience. So the memory speeds, the latency and such, is going to be better than Ampere, in my opinion. That's what I'm seeing. Memory latency is better than Ampere, and there's much more memory to pull from than Ampere. Clock speeds are better. Like I said, it trades blows very well. I think, the AIBs are going to be very, very... That's going to be the time where I really can't wait to see what happens when Sapphire and Power Color in particular, because they're Tier 1 AIBs, so they're going to get the best silicon. When they come out with their custom cards, I think that's really where we're going to see amazing performance. Like I said, there's been leaks. Asus is rumored to have a card that's clocking at like 2470 megahertz, so... I mean, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. But, yeah, all in all, very good launch. Very good pricing, very good performance, everything. It takes a moment for it to settle in and kind of think about it. But, yeah, like I said, I'll be, look at the reactions. The choo-choo train, definitely, we did not beat NVIDIA, but it did very well trade blows with NVIDIA. And I'm very impressed with that. So, yeah, all in all, that's about where this is. I'm going to lock down the stream. Thank you all for joining today. Thank you all for viewing. Check out some of the other videos on the channel. I'll be posting more stuff soon. And I was happy to have this here. I was super excited. I've been waiting for this day for a couple of months now, to say the least. I think my hype started really back in January, February, and now it's kind of here. So I cannot wait. Q1, there's going to be a lot of launching happening, so Q1 we'll take a look more at that. But as of now, amazing stream. Thank you all. Like I said, this is going to be good. We just need to see those benchmarks. I don't want to get too giddy like I did with Ampere, the specs, because it looks good on paper. We have to see benchmarks, and we'll go from there. But yes, definitely amazing presentation. Definitely amazing cards. I'm a little bit concerned about the TIs. We'll see how that plays out. We might get a notification they cancel the TIs variants, which would be interesting to see for sure if NVIDIA cancels the TI variants because of this lineup, because it's definitely going to make the lineup very interesting, to say the least, as far as pricing goes. I mean, pricing's going to be close. Naming's going to be weird. It's going to be an all-out bloodbath if they release TIs, because it's just going to become so confusing. And I don't know which way consumers would go, honestly, because one side you have the TI branding and whatnot, and the other side you have the higher VRAM and the better pricing, but then the cards won't directly line up or something like that. But that's something we have to worry about, I guess, in the future. Thinking in the now, these cards are great. This is amazing, especially the 6900 XT. That card is the true flagship because it beats out 2080 Ti pricing, or what was 2080 Ti pricing. Beats that out. Trades blows to 3090. Amazing performance. I would say that's the best value card in this whole lineup. No. I'd say the best value card is the 6800 XT. I would say is the best value card because it trades blows about 3080 performance, but it has 6 gigabytes more of memory. If you really need memory, the best value card is going to be the 6800. But I don't know. Like I said, it's all whatever. I don't know. It's a lot to take in at once. But yeah, we will see. I will post a video soon. Thank you all for watching, and I am out.